Hi guys, we're going to make some pizza dough based off of the ingredients that I listed at the beginning of the video. We're going to start with the water and the yeast. So right now we have 1 cup of water. I actually threw it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and at 30 seconds I put a thermometer in there until it read 110 degrees. This is just an electronic meat thermometer, but it works great. So we're going to go ahead and put that in the bowl. And then we're going to add the yeast. Basically, I'm using this active dry yeast. The reason that I have it in this can rather than these packets that you might be used to is because I bake a lot, and so I have to measure it out. It's about 2 1/4 teaspoons. But if you have these packets, that works great. It would just be 1 packet. So go ahead and add the yeast to the water. And you're just going to let it sit and dissolve. It only takes about 10 minutes, and then you're going to want to make sure that it's nice and frothy. And I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so it's been just a little over 10 minutes, and the yeast in the water has gotten nice and foamy and bubbly. I think you can see that it's got some bubbles sitting right at the top. So that's just what we want to see. Now we're going to go ahead and combine the rest of the ingredients. We have 2 cups of bread flour, and this is the type of bread flour that I'm using. It's just a generic Albertsons brand. The reason that you want to use bread flour is because it actually has a little bit more gluten content. So your dough is going to be just a little more chewy. If you used all-purpose, it wouldn't have the same elasticity. So that's why we use bread flour. We're going to go ahead and add the yeast mixture into the bowl with the flour. Okay, we've also got 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Add that right in there. And we've got 1 teaspoon of salt. I've used kosher salt, and 2 teaspoons of regular white sugar. And now we're just going to stir it all up until it's become a dough. So it's probably going to take a few minutes. I'll let you know how it looks in just a bit. Okay, so I basically just stirred it with a spoon until all the ingredients were fully incorporated, and then I kept stirring it for maybe about 3 or 4 minutes until this dough has formed. You can see it is still pretty sticky, but that's okay. We're going to need it in a little while. But basically what we're going to do now is, while I was stirring the dough actually, right when I started, I turned my oven on to 200 degrees. The reason I did that is because I want a warm place for this dough to rise. And right now in Mexico, and it's pretty cold outside right now, the oven is now at 200 degrees. I'm going to actually turn the oven off and put this dough in there to rise so it has a nice warm spot. Remember to turn the oven off because you're not actually cooking the dough, you just want some place for it to rise. So I'm going to go ahead and put a moist paper towel. Alright, so we've got a moist paper towel. I just ran it under the water. You can see it is pretty liberally wet. It is kind of dripping, but I find that it doesn't stick as much. I'm just going to place it right over the top. Turning the oven off. Okay, so we're going to let it rise in the oven for about 30 minutes. While the dough is rising, I actually take this time to start cooking some of the toppings that I have, and so you can do that as well. Okay, so I've taken the dough out of the oven. It has risen, and as you can see, it has about doubled in size. Because the dough was pretty sticky to begin with, there was some dough that stuck to the paper towel, but that's okay. And now we're going to turn this dough out onto a well-floured surface. Now for this, I tend to use just regular all-purpose flour. Alright, and now we're going to just start kneading this dough. Again, It's a very sticky dough right at this state, but it will become a little bit more firm with just a little extra flour. And we're not going to knead it too much, just enough so that it doesn't become, or so it's not sticky anymore, because we don't want it to be too tough. Alright, now we're going to try to just shape it into the circular shape that we want. You can see that because of all the gluten, it actually holds up really well and is very elastic. It's a very durable dough. Okay, so after kneading it and stretching it, I did also get the rolling pin out a little to help me shape it to the shape and thickness that I want. This is now the finished dough. I have it placed on the pan. The pan that I use actually has holes in the bottom, so it helps to cook the pizza a little bit more evenly. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to put this, I mean obviously you can top this with whatever you'd like. I like classic, marinara with all my favorite toppings. To cook it, all you're going to do is place it in a preheated 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. You'll want to check on it then. Obviously oven temperatures vary, as well as how many toppings are on top can vary the cooking time, but you'll want to make sure that all the cheese is nice and bubbly and the crust is golden around the edges. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you next time.